Your king has returned. All right, everybody, I'm back with another certified hood classic. You know, it's funny because for a second there, I forgot that I actually have a following to keep up with. And also I forgot the fact that I have to pay my child support with my YouTube checks. So guess who's back to doing YouTube videos? But I do want to apologize for my absence. I hope that these past 2 weeks that you spent away from me was just as splendid as mine was. Because this past weekend, I actually did spend some time in Charlotte for the Queen City Anime Convention, and I had a damn good time. I mean, if you could just look at this photo here, you could clearly see I was just having a time of my life. But for today's video, I want to talk about one of my more favorite music topics, and that's rap beef. So it seems that a lot of rappers of this new generation have been feuding with one another, whether it be beefing against each other or the old guard beefing with the new guard, you know? I know you've all heard the whole thing with Tyler the Creator basically throwing shots at Ian on the podcast, basically calling him a culture vulture. But if I'm being honest, the only reason why I won't really dive too deep into this drama is because I feel like we're kind of going in a circle when it comes to white rappers and their perception in the hip hop scene. I mean, as long as the whole white guy doing black guy gimmick is a thing within the entertainment industry, we're going to see artists like Ian and Post Malone and shit forever. It's just a thing. It's filling the music executives' pockets, so it's not really much that we can do. And even if you want to get real conscious on it, the audiences themselves, it's not like they really care either. And if you don't actually know who Ian is, and this is like your first time you actually really hearing him be brought up, to summarize it, basically, he makes trap music for people who don't want to hear black people make trap music. Does that make sense? But another piece of drama that has circulated recently is Destroy Lonely beefing with KanKan and Lucki, because if there's one criteria you have to meet to get signed to Opium, it's having an absolutely massive ego. So it all started off on Twitter with this snippet of this unreleased Destroy Lonely song that was basically throwing like subliminals at Lucki, with Lucki responding that he really should not take this route. It then ended up becoming a chest beating contest for the most part, with KanKan even jumping into shit on Destroy Lonely. But I think the funniest moment of this rap beef is when Destroy Lonely said that Lucki never actually scared him, but then Lucki just responded by saying, dude, we're entertainers. We were never meant to be scary. That's like not the point of anything that we do. Or in other words, he's saying that Destroy Lonely, you're just not that guy, and it's pointless for you to even try to be that guy. KanKan also jumps in, basically saying that Playboi Carti controls the future of all Opium artists, and also calling Destroy Lonely an employee, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. But that also kind of did make me think, because if you're an artist that gets signed to an artist label, are you an employee? And if you are an employee, do you get benefits under that label? I mean, seriously, nobody wants to talk about rapper benefits, especially when you take the perspective of Opium artists and the fact that all they like to do is pop drugs and beat women. They should probably have some sort of benefits under their belt, right? But back to the drama, it's just more chest beating, with Lonely also getting called a slave. But if there's one thing I did recognize throughout this beef, is that Lucki was probably the most mature throughout everybody in here. Because I mean, he did admit that he tried to take a more diplomatic approach to the situation, just trying to hit him up in the DMs, or just trying to sit down, actually meet up and handle this shit like normal adults, because you know they're both adults. But of course, all Destroy Lonely wants to do is just win Twitter over and just be chronically online and weird and shit and threaten people on a keyboard. But of course, Lucki then stopped responding later on, because he realized that keeping this shit up with somebody who has the emotional control of a 5-year-old, it just doesn't really make any sense, and it's just a waste of everybody's time. But the final drama that I want to tackle is Lil Yachty beefing with one of his own previous artists, Karrahbooo, after she was dropped from the label. And once again, like most rap beef, it started on Twitter, of course, with a fan here actually getting an encounter with Karrahbooo at a restaurant, and Karrahbooo actually admitting that yes, she was dropped from the label, and part of it was possibly because of bullying. Now, while these allegations can't be confirmed or denied, what I can say is that Yachty did respond, and he gave us a hell of a response. The main sauce that I really want to get into with this drama with Lil Yachty's response is the fact that he did hop on IG Live and basically take one big fat stinky shit all over Karrahbooo's credibility, basically saying that he wrote all of her stuff and she wouldn't be there without him. Which, I'm gonna be honest, when I do kind of listen to Karrahbooo's music, it kind of makes sense, because if there's one thing Karrahbooo and Ice Spice have in common, it's that they both read their lyrics like they're being held at gunpoint. But then Yachty actually turns the tables and says that instead of Karrahbooo actually being bullied, it's actually Karrahbooo who's being the bully to everybody else. Basically, he was just saying like she treated everybody around her like shit, and she was basically just being like a stuck-up asshole. Which is honestly ironic, kind of coming from Yachty, because for him to call anybody stuck up, especially with this whole pretentious wave bullshit he's been on like this past year or two now, I'm surprised he's even this aware to even call somebody else out. And then he also stated that she is 900K in debt towards the label because she probably just went triple plastic and couldn't pay that shit back. Karrahbooo did respond by saying that no, I actually do write my own stuff, yada yada yada, but of course can't be confirmed or denied because when you do look at Lil Yachty's writing credits, he has written for Drake, he has written for City Girls, so on and so forth. The guy, his pen game has been used many times. I wouldn't be surprised if Yachty actually did write for Karrahbooo. I wouldn't be surprised if Yachty did write for the rest of Concrete Boys. But that's really about it on this drama. Nothing else has actually developed, but it is funny seeing an artist beef with their own label like that, especially when you're like 900K in debt towards them. Like, what do you even do in that situation? Can you put that shit on layaway? But overall, it's been a pretty hectic 2 weeks of rap beef, man. The new guys can't keep their shit together, and the old guard is getting a little bit tired of their shit. But if I had to give my opinion on it, I'll try to not be old heady about it. But what I will say is that as more talent has came out, we've definitely seen the cracks within the industry that have shown that a lot of these newer artists are really fucking annoying. And I can also kind of see why artists of before, such as Tyler the Creator, are getting really tired of seeing these guys pop off like this. But that's also what happens when like 90% of the rap game today is like Nepo Baby or some shit. So, but to summarize it all up, is Ian a plant benefiting off the hip-hop sound? Just for once he gets tired of that shit, he'll just go and do an alt-rock album or something? Yeah, probably. Does Destroy Lonely need to shut up and focus on treating women with respect and not jerking himself off on Twitter? Yeah, I think so. And is Karrahbooo's career practically over now that she's dropping Concrete Boys? Yeah, I'd say she's pretty cooked. But thank you guys for watching. It's been absolutely stellar. I am insanely tired, but I guess that's just part of getting older. I'll see you guys next Monday when I submit my nomination for presidential candidacy. And my policies are jeans on Friday and everybody is an Eagles fan or a Browns fan, no in between. I'll see you guys next Monday. Peace.
I won it. You're trespassing on my property. You didn't win shit in my yard.
Wait.
All of you.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?